The early dawn breaks over the misty rivers of Kievan Rus. Smoke curls from the chimneys of wooden villages, and the forests hum with a silence that feels like the calm before a storm. In this land of warriors and kings, one woman would rise, not to rule with mercy, but with a vengeance so precise and terrible it would be spoken of for 1,000 years. Her name was Olga of Kiev, and her story is written in fire, blood, and a terrifyingly cold retribution. Olga was born around the year 890 into a world of chaos. The kingdom of Kievan Rus, the ancestor to modern Ukraine and Russia, was a sprawling tapestry of tribes, all bound together by fragile, often broken alliances. She was known to be clever, beautiful, and fiercely strategic. But in her time, women did not rule. They were pawns in the games of men. Unless, of course, fate gave them no other choice. Her husband, Prince Igor of Kiev, was a powerful and ambitious ruler. He made his wealth by demanding tribute from the surrounding tribes. Among them were the Drevlians, a proud and fierce people who resented Kiev's heavy-handed dominance. One fateful day, Igor, driven by greed, returned to the Drevlians demanding more gold than they could possibly bear. Their patience snapped. They captured the prince and decided to make an example of him. The execution was so brutal that even the chroniclers of the time hesitated to write it down. Igor was tied between two bent birch trees, and then the trees were released. He was torn apart. When the news of her husband's horrific death reached Olga in Kiev, she did not weep. She did not scream. She simply waited. Her grief was a cold, hard stone in her heart, and she began to plan. The Drevlians, arrogant and foolish, assumed the kingdom was now theirs for the taking. They sent their best envoys to Kiev with a proposal. The young widow Olga should marry their own prince, and in doing so, unite their lands. It was their first and most fatal mistake. Olga received the messengers with a disarming smile and the warmest hospitality. She declared that their proposal pleased her greatly. As a sign of immense honor, she commanded her guards to carry the Drevlian envoys through the streets of Kiev in the very boat they had arrived in. The envoys, puffed up with pride, enjoyed the parade. But the procession didn't end at the palace doors. It ended at a deep, freshly dug trench in the courtyard. The boat, with the men still inside, was unceremoniously dropped into the pit. As her guards began to bury them alive, Olga leaned over the edge. "Your message is well received," she is said to have told them, her voice calm, "and so shall be your people." But her vengeance was only just beginning. The Drevlians, completely unaware of their envoy's fate, received a message from Olga. She accepted their proposal, but she insisted she deserved a more honorable escort. She requested they send their noblest and most distinguished men to accompany her to their capital. The Drevlians, eager to seal the deal, quickly complied. When this second high-ranking delegation arrived, Olga invited them to refresh themselves in the royal bathhouse before their formal meeting. As the noblemen relaxed in the hot steam, unsuspecting, Olga's soldiers barred the doors from the outside and set the building ablaze. No one escaped. She had just incinerated the Drevlian elite. Still, her thirst for revenge was not quenched. She sent another message, this time announcing her imminent arrival in the Drevlian lands. She claimed she wished to hold a proper funeral feast at the site of her husband's murder to honor his memory. The Drevlians, now desperate to appease her and end the chaos, eagerly agreed. They gathered by the thousands for a grand feast. Olga encouraged them to drink, and her men served wine generously. As the Drevlians became drunk and sloppy, their guards down, Olga gave a final, silent signal. Her soldiers, who had been waiting patiently, drew their blades. Before the night was over, thousands of Drevlians were cut down in a merciless slaughter. The few survivors fled to their walled capital city, Iskorostan. Olga laid siege to it for months, but the city walls held strong. So she changed her tactics. Instead of swords and siege engines, she sent a strange message. She claimed her vengeance was satisfied and offered peace. Her terms seemed bizarrely merciful. She asked for only 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows from each household as a token of their surrender. The exhausted and terrified Drevlians, believing this was a sign of forgiveness, gratefully complied. They gathered the birds and sent them to Olga's camp. Olga smiled. That night, she ordered her soldiers to tie a small piece of smoldering cloth, bound with sulfur, to the leg of each and every bird. Then she released them. The birds, by instinct, flew straight back to their homes, to the thatched roofs, the wooden barns, and the nests tucked into the eaves of the city. Within moments, hundreds of tiny fires started all at once. The entire city of Iskorostan was engulfed in flames. The sky burned red as the trap snapped shut. As the panicked citizens fled the burning city, Olga's army was waiting for them. There was no escape. The city fell, and with it, the last of the Drevlians' defiance. Her vengeance was finally complete. With her enemies utterly destroyed, Olga ruled Kievan Rus as regent for her young son, Sviatoslav. But having satisfied her fury, she turned her sharp mind from retribution to reform. She established administrative and tax systems that would stabilize the kingdom for generations. Her rule wasn't just about power, but about order. Then she did something truly revolutionary. She traveled to Constantinople, the magnificent heart of the Byzantine Empire. There she was captivated not by its wealth, but by its faith. She converted to Orthodox Christianity and was baptized, taking the new name Helena. She became the very first ruler of Rus to embrace the Christian faith. When she returned home, she tried to bring her people into this new religion, but her warrior son, Sviatoslav, refused. He mocked the idea, claiming that his warriors would laugh at him if he adopted a faith for the weak. Olga answered him quietly, with the wisdom of a woman who had seen it all. "My son, you are strong, but your descendants will follow me, not you." Her words would prove prophetic. It was her grandson, Vladimir the Great, who would later baptize all of Kievan Rus, making Christianity the state religion. Olga's story is a staggering paradox. A tale of savage fury and profound faith, of unimaginable destruction and devoted nation-building. She began as a widow who burned cities to the ground to avenge her husband. She ended as a saint who sought eternal peace for her people. The Orthodox Church later canonized her as Saint Olga, Is Apostolos, equal to the Apostles, one of the first and most revered female saints in Eastern Europe. History remembers her by many names: the vengeful widow, the wise ruler, the fire of Kiev, but above all she remains an unforgettable symbol of a queen who refused to be a victim, who took her unimaginable pain and forged it into an empire-shaping power. She burned her enemies to the ground, but from their ashes she built a legacy of faith that would define a nation. Olga's fire didn't just consume her enemies, it illuminated the path for a new civilization. If her incredible story left you in awe, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We uncover the hidden stories of the most powerful and ruthless figures in history, the ones who ruled the world in ways you can't even imagine. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.